Russia's relentless round-the-clock campaign against Ukraine's critical infrastructure is piling pressure on Kyiv and raising hard questions about President Zelensky's ability to protect supply lines, power networks, and civilian safety under sustained bombardment. As Moscow targets and cripples key Ukrainian ports that sustain trade and military logistics, its air defenses and electronic warfare systems are also claiming the downing or disruption of thousands of attacking drones, further strangling Ukraine's operational reach. 19 devastating strikes in quick succession have left Ukrainian cities, military positions, and morale reeling, creating an urgent perception that Zelensky's forces are struggling to hold the line and respond effectively. With reports, yet to be independently verified, suggesting casualty figures that could exceed 10,000, Russian forces are delivering heavy, crushing blows that amplify both the human toll and the political fallout for Kyiv. Elements of Russia's battle group center are credited with inflicting severe losses on Ukrainian formations, with claims that a single formation has accounted for roughly 2,350 troops, a figure that, if confirmed, underscores the scale of battlefield setbacks. As frontline losses mount and supply routes come under fire, the hidden scale of Russia's operational successes is increasingly visible, suggesting Ukraine may be bleeding more heavily than official tallies acknowledge. Moscow said it launched 19 coordinated strikes against military targets across Ukraine, describing the operation as a synchronized effort to degrade Kyiv's combat capabilities and disrupt command and control nodes. Russian officials asserted that key port infrastructure in Odesa, Kornomorsk, Yuzhny, and the Dnieperbug estuary was struck, claiming the attacks damaged facilities vital for exports, military resupply, and regional logistics. According to Moscow, the strikes destroyed Ukrainian defense plants, ammunition depots, and logistics hubs, which the Kremlin says will hinder Kyiv's ability to replenish weapons and sustain frontline operations. Russian statements also claim that their air defense systems intercepted and destroyed 4,661 Ukrainian fixed-wing drones, a figure presented as evidence of effective countermeasures against long-range unmanned attacks. Moscow reported that the Russian Black Sea Fleet destroyed 5 Ukrainian unmanned surface boats, portraying the strikes as part of broader maritime operations to secure coastal approaches. Officials in Moscow further claimed they struck 24 Ukrainian vessels, including 14 dry cargo ships, asserting that the attacks disrupted commercial and military shipping in contested waters. Russian military sources claimed Battle Group Center alone inflicted over 2,350 Ukrainian troop losses, a tally presented to illustrate what Moscow described as decisive local successes on the battlefield. The Kremlin also said Battle Group North inflicted more than 1,360 Ukrainian casualties, framing the figure as part of a wider pattern of pressure applied across northern sectors. Moscow claimed that Battle Group South inflicted over 1,205 Ukrainian troop losses, indicating, according to Russian statements, sustained attrition of Kyiv's forces in the southern theater. Russian accounts asserted that Battle Group West inflicted more than 1,505 Ukrainian casualties, a number cited to emphasize reported successes against Ukrainian units in the west. Authorities in Moscow claimed Battle Group East inflicted over 3,275 Ukrainian troop losses, describing the Eastern Front as where they achieved their most significant battlefield gains. Russia additionally claimed Battle Group Dnieper inflicted more than 460 Ukrainian casualties, listing the figure among a series of regional tallies intended to portray cumulative effects. Independent verification of these battlefield claims is currently lacking, and international observers caution that such figures should be treated as unconfirmed until corroborated by unbiased sources. At the same time, Ukraine said it has expanded long-range drone strikes deep inside Russian territory, asserting that its forces are increasingly able to project power beyond frontline areas. Russia launched another missile strike on Odesa on July 16th, killing 2 people and injuring at least 8 others in the southern port city. Homes, a preschool, vehicles, and a religious institution were damaged as the overnight missile barrage struck civilian areas. Children were among those injured after missiles slammed into residential neighborhoods across Odesa. Emergency crews rushed to multiple impact sites as rescue teams searched damaged buildings and assisted survivors. The latest strike came only a day after another Russian missile attack killed 3 civilians in Odesa. Ukraine Special Forces claimed a drone strike hit a Russian Su-24 bomber at an airfield in occupied Crimea. According to Ukraine, the aircraft was preparing for takeoff when drone operators launched the attack. Kiev said one drone struck the bomber's nose while another exploded near its fuel tanks. The Su-24M is one of Russia's frontline strike aircraft used in combat missions against Ukrainian targets. The reported strike has not been independently verified, and Russia has not issued an official response. Explosions were reported near Russia's Engels 2 strategic bomber base during the night of July 16th. Videos showed smoke rising near the military airfield as drones reportedly struck targets in Saratov Oblast. The Engels airbase is home to Tu-95, Tu-160, and Tu-22 bombers used in Russia's long-range missile campaign. Residents reported power outages and damage after Russian air defenses engaged the incoming drones. Russia launched overnight ballistic missile strikes against Kyiv on the night of July 15th to 16th as air raid alerts spread across Ukraine. Ukraine's Air Force said at least 8 ballistic missiles were detected heading toward the capital during the early hours of July 16th. Explosions were heard across Kyiv as officials said Russia combined ballistic missile strikes with waves of attack drones. Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said the attacks damaged warehouses and several non-residential buildings across the city. Air raid warnings were also issued in Kharkiv, Vinnytsia, and several other regions as Russian drones crossed Ukrainian airspace. Meanwhile, Donetsk People's Republic head Denis Pushilin told TASS that Russian forces were continuing to advance toward Slavyansk. Separately, Russian-appointed officials said a Ukrainian drone strike triggered a total power blackout in Crimea's city of Kerch. Crimean energy authorities said emergency repair crews were deployed immediately while backup power systems were activated. Ukraine's Special Operations Forces said they had struck the Balaklava thermal power plant in Russian-controlled Crimea. Kyiv said the operation targeted critical power infrastructure supporting Russian military operations on the peninsula. Ukrainian officials claimed the strike damaged key equipment and warned the repairs could take several months to complete. Commander Magyar also said Ukraine had expanded its maritime drone campaign deeper into the Black Sea. He claimed Ukrainian naval drones struck 20 Russian vessels, including several oil tankers supporting Russian logistics. Ukrainian officials said the campaign is intended to disrupt Russia's military supply network and maritime logistics. Magyar further claimed Ukrainian forces shot down a Russian Mi-28 attack helicopter on July 15th in Russia's Belgorod region. The helicopter was reportedly hit in Russia's Belgorod Oblast during a Ukrainian drone operation, according to reports. Magyar claimed the drone successfully struck the Mi-28, causing the helicopter to crash to the ground. Russia is reportedly overhauling its battlefield strategy as it looks to counter Ukraine's increasingly frequent missile and long-range drone attacks. Fresh satellite imagery reportedly showed that Vladimir Putin has redeployed key air defense systems from Russia's northern regions to the Moscow area. Even Russian-controlled territories inside occupied Ukraine may now be receiving additional air defense missile systems as part of the wider military reshuffle. Nearly 24 S-300 and S-400 long-range air defense systems have reportedly been relocated from the Russian city of Severodvinsk. The air defense network had previously been deployed to protect Russia's strategic nuclear-powered submarine shipyard, according to reports. The reported redeployment has notably left 2 major military positions at Yagry Island and Mironov Hill largely abandoned. Yagry Island, once home to 6 S-300 surface-to-air missile systems, is now reportedly left almost completely exposed. Mironov Hill previously hosted 8 S-300 launcher vehicles, but satellite images from 2025 reportedly revealed a dramatic reduction. Experts believe Putin's latest strategy assumes northern Russia remains sufficiently distant from the battlefield to accept reduced air defense coverage. An expert said, and I quote, "Trying to fend off Ukraine's drone and missile strikes against strategic infrastructure deep inside Russian territory, Russia is burning through its interceptor missile stockpiles faster than the defense industry can replace them. This has apparently forced the Kremlin to reallocate many of its air defense assets from lower priority regions to higher priority areas, such as Moscow, St. Petersburg, and operational zones closer to the Ukrainian front, including Crimea. The systems shown on earlier satellite imagery may have been dispersed, undergoing maintenance or replaced by other air defense assets. The apparent disappearance of S-300 or S-400 launchers is probably the result of a temporary redeployment rather than a permanent withdrawal, and the assets may be returned to Their original sites, once operational requirements elsewhere have been met. End quote. Another defense expert argued that Russia is now prioritizing the protection of Moscow and St. Petersburg above all other regions. Meanwhile, Putin appeared to follow through on his promise of launching more powerful attacks against Ukraine with renewed intensity. Russia's defense ministry said its forces carried out a series of overnight missile and drone strikes across Ukraine on July 14th. Moscow said the attacks targeted Ukraine's defense industry facilities in Kiev, as well as port infrastructure in the Odesa region. The defense ministry also claimed that Russian forces struck Ukrainian ports and military-use vessels supporting Kiev's operations. Moscow said Russian aerospace forces destroyed an armed forces of Ukraine embankment crossing near Saky in the Donetsk People's Republic. Russia said its artillery and assault units continued attacking Ukrainian defensive positions behind the city of Konstantinovka.